Welcome to the deep dive. We cut through the noise to focus on what really matters. Today, we're taking a closer look at a story that's been quite prominent recently, and it's a deeply sad one. It involves country singer Connor Smith and a fatal car accident in Nashville. Our goal here is really to unpack the details, what happened, the legal side, the community reaction, just to give you a clearer picture than maybe the headlines offered.
Yeah, because when you first hear about an incident like this, one resulting in a death, you might expect, well, certain legal consequences. But in this case, the charge was actually a misdemeanor citation
Right.
for a fatal incident. And that makes you stop and think, doesn't it? Like, okay,
Yeah.
how does that work? Let's unpack that.
hmm
We've gathered our information for this deep dive from some really detailed reporting. Outlets like People, Parade, they've been following this closely.
Yeah. Good sources. They've provided a lot of the factual basis.
Definitely. So let's start with the incident itself. Tragic event in Nashville.
So the individuals involved, Connor Smith, the country singer, he's 24, driving a Chevrolet Silverado pickup.
Okay, big truck. And he's pretty well known now, right? Nashville guy.
Yeah, exactly. Nashville native, ACM nomination for New Male Artist this year, signed to Big Machine.
Yeah.
Got a lot of early buzz on TikTok, actually.
All right, I know what you mean.
So this happened June 8th. He struck Dorothy Dobbins, who was 77 years old. And this is critical. She was crossing the street inside a marked crosswalk.
Okay, that's a key detail. Inside the crosswalk.
Absolutely. She was taken to Vanderbilt University Medical Center, but tragically, she passed away from her injuries.
Awful.
And it's the timing. It was the last night of CMA Fest in Nashville, that huge 4-day country music festival. So the city was packed.
Yeah, a lot going on that night. Okay, so the police get involved immediately, I assume?
Right away, the Metro Nashville Police Department, MNPD, they handled the investigation.
And what did they find initially?
Their preliminary finding pointed to the contributing factor being Smith, quote, failing to yield the right-of-way to the pedestrian.
Okay, failure to yield. That's specific.
Very specific. And crucially, police also stated he showed no signs of impairment right after the accident.
No impairment. That's huge in these cases.
Exactly. And sources close to the situation also backed this up, saying he wasn't under the influence, wasn't distracted by his phone, that sort of thing.
Got it. So no alcohol, no drugs, no texting while driving indicated.
That's what the report suggests, yes.
Yeah.
Which leads directly to the legal outcome we mentioned at the start.
Misdemeanor citation.
Right. Issued on Thursday, July 10th.
Yeah.
The specific charge, failure to yield resulting in a fatality.
Okay.
And again, that combination, fatality and misdemeanors, can sound, well, jarring to people. What does that actually mean in legal terms?
Yeah, this is where it gets nuanced, and it's important to understand the difference the law makes between, say, criminal intent and negligence. Criminal intent, sometimes called mens rea or a guilty mind, usually involves someone acting deliberately wrongful, or maybe showing a real conscious disregard for serious risks. Think extreme recklessness, maybe.
Like driving drunk or something like that.
Exactly. Or excessive speeding in a dangerous area, knowing the risks. But negligence, particularly in traffic situations like a failure to yield without those other factors, it's more about not exercising the reasonable care expected of a person in that situation.
So, like a lapse in attention, but not necessarily a deliberate disregard for safety.
That's generally the idea. A felony charge in a fatal accident case would usually need something more serious impairment. Extreme recklessness, showing a profound disregard for human life, or an intentional dangerous act.
Yeah.
Because the investigation here didn't show those aggravating factors, the impairment. The distraction, the legal conclusion seems to be that it was a tragic accident stemming from negligence, not an act with criminal intent.
So the legal system is distinguishing the action or the lack of due care from the devastating outcome, even though the result was the worst imaginable.
Precisely. It's a difficult distinction, especially for those affected, but it's fundamental to how these cases are often categorized legally when those specific aggravating factors aren't present.
Understood. Okay. So how has Connor Smith responded to all this?
Well, his attorney, Warwick G. Robinson IV, confirmed the citation details.
Okay.
And Smith himself released a statement. He expressed gratitude to the MNPD for their investigation, stressed his cooperation, and importantly, it said his thoughts remain with Mrs. Dobbins' family. He also talked about honoring her memory
How so?
by supporting efforts to improve pedestrian safety and help prevent future tragedies. A commitment to action, basically.
That's significant. And personally, how has this affected him?
Reports say he's pulled out of shows to process recent events.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine it's taken a huge toll.
Absolutely. And it's not just him, of course. The community response in Nashville has been really notable.
In what way?
There's been a real push for safety improvements right there at that intersection where the accident happened.
So people are trying to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Exactly. And Smith has apparently said he's encouraged by these efforts. They've already added more signs, marked the crosswalk more clearly,
Okay.
and even removed a tree that was apparently obstructing the view of the crosswalk.
Oh, so practical change is being made.
Real, tangible changes. And Smith acknowledged the community's support for Mrs. Dobbins and her family and this push for safety.
It's interesting, isn't it, how sometimes these awful individual tragedies can become a catalyst for broader change.
It really is. You see this happen where a single event, as heartbreaking as it is, forces a community to look hard at its infrastructure, its procedures, its safety measures.
Yeah.
It moves from a private grief to a public cause. Examining vulnerabilities, making improvements, it shows that collective action can emerge even from the darkest circumstances.
A powerful, if somber, reminder of community action. So let's kind of wrap up what we've covered in this deep dive. We talked about the tragic accident itself, Connor Smith, Dorothy Dobbins, the circumstances in Nashville. We unpacked that key legal point, the misdemeanor citation for failure to yield resulting in a fatality, and what that suggests about negligence versus criminal intent based on the police findings of no impairment or distraction.
Right, that crucial distinction.
And we looked at the response from Connor Smith himself, pulling back from performing, expressing remorse, committing to safety efforts.
Yeah.
And the Nashville community's response, pushing for and achieving actual safety improvements at that intersection.
Concrete changes.
So thinking about all this, what does it mean for you listening? Well, I think it's drivers as pedestrians, just as people sharing these public spaces. It's a stark reminder, isn't it?
It really is.
About the huge importance of something seemingly simple, like yielding the right of way, and about that ongoing vital conversation we need to have about safety in our cities and towns. Maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. Seeing how one community responded to such a profound call for change, how might that awareness spark similar proactive thinking, maybe similar conversations about safety right where you live? Something to consider.